So now let's talk about something really, really controversial. Now I have your attention. And really interesting. To vaccinate or not vaccinate, that is the question. Now I'm sorry to disappoint you, because I'm not actually going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about something that relates to that and why we may be pro or con to vaccination, to anything, even pro or con to issues within ISKCON. Now, this is really interesting. As many of you know, when you click on your social media device, your phone, your pad, your computer, there are algorithms that bring up more content that bring up similar content, because the whole idea is that these companies are making money through ads. And the longer you stay on the phone or your pad or your computer, the more ads you're going to look at, right? And the more ads you look at, the more money these companies make. So they are sitting around in Silicon Valley thinking, how can I get people more addicted to their phones? They've done an excellent job of creating addiction, but how can I get them to stay longer with that addiction? So how can I increase it? Maybe they use their phone 2 hours a day. How can I increase it to 3, to 4, to 5? They're doing that, right? So how do they do that? Well, when you watch a YouTube video or you look at something on the internet or you look at an ad, an article, there's data on that. So they feed you more of the same because they know that's what you want. They actually feed you things by location. Some areas of the world are more liberal, some are more conservative. You will get different news. You will get a different slant on the news according to where you live. Isn't that interesting? I had that experience doing book distribution, that in some cities it was very easy to distribute books, and some cities was very difficult. And I realized the newspapers have a lot to do with this. What people are reading, they're reading very, very conservative news or very liberal news. And in the more conservative areas, I found it very difficult to distribute books. People had you could see people had certain ideas about religion, about new religion from the newspaper. So now it's a little different. So what does this mean, to vaccinate or not vaccinate? And I said I wasn't going to talk about it. Well, if you are pro-vax or anti-vax and you're doing research, you're going to get information that supports the side of the issue that you're inclined to believe. And so here's the problem. The more you get that information, let's say I'm anti-vax. So I get all the anti-vax information, which makes complete sense to me. This makes total sense. But I'm not getting any of the pro-vax side of it because I don't want to read it anyway, even if I get it, because I think it's completely stupid. Or vice versa. I think the anti-vaxxers are like out of their minds. You know, we're never going to end this COVID unless everybody gets vaccinated. And I'm reading all pro-vax articles. And it just makes total sense. Blah, 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 blah. You read it, you know, like, look at it. Everyone in the hospitals, they're not vaccinated. But from the other side, the anti-vaxxers, but look at what the vaccinations are doing. And there's no proof it really works. And we don't know in a few years, you know, maybe everyone who got vaccinated will be a walking vegetable. We don't know. So it makes sense to you, either side, whatever side you favor, makes sense to you. And it makes the more articles you get, the more it makes sense. And the more difficult it is to understand why anyone would think the other side, because you're not really reading the other side. You don't want to read the other side. The other side doesn't make any sense. Okay, so this is actually going on. You're being fed stuff that the algorithms know that you like, and you get it. You see that with ads. You look up a product, all of a sudden, boom, you know, 100 of those products. So what's the problem? The problem affects politics, obviously, but it goes beyond politics. It affects the politics of ISKCON, because as we look at issues within ISKCON, which are controversial, vaccination is a global issue, but it's become a controversy in ISKCON. But I'm talking about specific issues in ISKCON. As they become controversial, we start getting fed certain information, and we start reading certain information. And it's one-sided because the algorithms are just going to feed us that. So whatever the issue is, female Diksha Guru, yes, no, this controversy, yes, no, should we establish this, yes, no. As you get fed one side because of the algorithms, and that's the side that makes sense to you, the other side seems to make less sense, but you're not even reading the other side, which, how could it make less sense? Well, it makes less sense because this side makes more sense, so that side naturally makes less sense. So a little advice, and I try to do this. I listen to things I don't agree with. Very good advice, because I want to be balanced and I want to know that my decisions are balanced. Otherwise, I'm being controlled by algorithms, and those algorithms are designed to feed me what I believe, so I will keep reading it and stay on the phone longer. Yeah, that's why they're designed. So it's interesting to know this, and I would just want to underscore again, it's good for you to read and hear about the other side of issues, to try to understand other people's perspectives, because no one side generally is entirely 101% correct. And trying to be balanced people, trying to create a movement where we can be unified, although we differ, it's really good to expose yourself to the other side, because your phone's not going to. And that could be a problem. And you might end up making offenses to devotees on the other side because you think they're not logical, they're not intelligent, they're not informed, etc. Hare Krishna.